Welcome back, everyone. I have the great pleasure of doing a talk back with the amazing director, Lesley Johnson, and her film, Revolution Moosehide. I hope you've all had a chance to experience the film and really take in the, the beautiful nature and the important cultural relevance of this film. Lindsay, what was the genesis of this project for you?
So Revolution Moosehide started, I guess, in 2012 when the main subject of the film, Melaw, who is also a co-producer on the film, and who may just jump in with us, hopefully. She's kind of in transit right now. Things are a bit complicated, but hopefully she'll be able to jump in with us. So she decided to do kind of a moosehide tanning like project with some elders in Trout Lake. It started off as something that she kind of just wanted to do for herself, and asked me if I wanted to kind of come along and do some videography for that. And then I guess the main genesis that happened was when she started talking about it with some friends of ours, some friends of hers. She basically, what happened was everybody kind of wanted to come on board, and she decided, I guess, because there were so many people that were interested, the best thing to do, and as she would say it, kind of like part of Dene law is, if people are asking, they should be able to come on board and do that. So we all went out to Trout Lake together, and that kind of experience happened. But for me, from a filmmaker point of view, what I could really see that was kind of going on was how transformative and amazing it was to all of the people that were involved in that workshop. And there was a lot of political organizing that was happening around the same time. So it was kind of happening at, like what would be the beginning of the Idle No More movement. So just kind of them being out and learning how to, tan moose hides, and, starting to think about all of these things that were happening, and being on the land and being in a really small community working with elders. You could see like all of the connections were starting to happen and form. So what, was just kind of this smaller, like little project, it started to blossom into something that I could see was very much going to be a lot bigger. And so the genesis of the film is really kind of following how moosehide tanning and just really learning. I mean, it's not just about moosehide tanning in a way, but really relearning cultural practices is so important and transformative in the lives of the main characters in this film. So Melaw is, the main character, but it also, there were other people who came along, and they all had very different trajectories in their lives. And they were all very much impacted just by, the act of moosehide tanning and learning how to do that. So it really kind of follows, what happened in their lives as a result of, basically just trying to do this and trying to do this workshop. So that was the genesis of the film and kind of how it transitioned along the way.
Myself as a settler filmmaker, and, at this time, I could really see you working to create this sort of space for the point of view of the characters in the film. Can you talk about that collaboration, how you work together, and how important that coming together is, as well as supporting, in our Indigenous communities?
Yeah, so it was a very collaborative film. Myself, I am a settler filmmaker as well. And it was really very much from the genesis of the film to every kind of point along the way. It was really about kind of checking in with, like what was important to share in the story, what was okay to film. There's a lot of different kind of things that we were thinking about, what is okay to share from a community perspective, and kind of deciding that, like, perhaps, the best way to serve the story is to, just really focus on the perspective of the women involved. And so always checking in with them through, production, obviously in particular Melaw, we really kind of communicated a lot about that. And then, a major thing was in post-production, continuing that process and, kind of like rechecking in with people, about like points of the story and just in terms of like their own visual representation, what was okay and what wasn't. And I found that that was actually, really, really important, especially in post-production, because it was sort of like upon reflection, that some things changed and actually, a lot of changes for the benefit of the film happened at that point, basically just from, being able to say, like, we framed the film in such a way that, like it's to inspire your growth. And so we want to make sure that, everything that kind of is in the story really supports that. So, just checking in and making sure that, if they could remember anything that, wasn't okay or that was questionable, we kind of talked about it and took it out or did different things. So really it was, like very much part of the process, kind of like along the whole way to kind of always check in and have those conversations, because it was really, really important. And, things came out of it that I think I will probably carry into my documentary practice, in general going forwards. So I really appreciated kind of like those conversations that we had and those spaces that we made, and always checking back to make sure that we were kind of honoring, like what the intention was in the first place as things changed along the way.
And in that process, how important, oh, I think Milaw's here. I think that Melaw is coming in. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm just here. I'm just
Hi.
Just
Hey,
listening right now. Hello.
Did you?
We're just waiting for Melaw to join. Or are you there in audio?
Yes, I'm here on audio and I can join video chat in just 2 minutes.
Okay, great. Well, we'll just keep going. Where I was going to go next was how important in the filming and it, in the editing process and then the final film was it to express Moosehide tanning as a cultural reclamation, decolonization, and sort of part of the resurgence and revitalization of your culture. I know that that's a mouthful, but I really took that away from the film. How important is it to you for us to receive that as part of the intention of the film?
Melaw, I think that one's for you.
Or either of you.
Oh, there's Melaw.
Oh, I think you're there you are. Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
We were just saying how great your film was before and how important. So thank you for you both for participating in the festival. It's wonderful to have your film with us. I was asking, I just wanted to know the importance for us as an audience to the takeaway of how Moosehide training is cultural reclamation, and how and part of and how that can be part of decolonization, and how important it is for us to receive that and the teaching that can come from that. Can you talk to that a little bit, Melaw?
Yes, thank you so much. I think that the story, like, of reclaiming the knowledge of high tanning is, it could be, I could talk about it in many different ways. And one of the ways for this film, I find that the story of just being self-determining and finding ways of learning how to regain this knowledge is was an important part of this project to share with people. I think that in a lot of cases that we have to take that responsibility on ourselves to reclaim and relearn a lot of our teachings that have been lost in our communities and our families. And I think that's one of the, for myself, that's one of the decolonial type messages or takeaways from the film that I'm hoping people will be able to see.
Mm-hmm. How did you both approach creating such an access point for us and as an audience to bring us into the story, so that we were actually not away from it, that we were actually experiencing it with you? How did you create that experience for us?
I think really, like, when I when I reflect on that, like, I think what that is about is, like, Melaw and I know each other so well, and the other characters in the film are also friends. And so, I did most of the camera work myself, and I was kind of like with everyone. And like, if I wasn't filming, I was often, like, working on stuff myself. So I think because it's me and you're seeing, it really through, like, my point of view, it's almost like, you're seeing it from, like, the inside of, like a group of friends. I think, in a way, that's really what, like, when I started to kind of, like, see that through the edit, I was sort of like, wow, you really can see, like, Melaw and Tanya and Mandy through really through my point of view, which is interesting because I had never really done a film that way before. And that was kind of like like a nice surprise in myself. It's sort of like you really can see the reflection of, like, Melaw, will talk to me sort of directly, and I'm kind of unaware, in a sense, that I'm, like, even kind of, like, responding as, like, the camera that way. So I think that that's probably, like, why it does feel like, have a bit of an intimate feel to it, like that.
Thank you. Melaw, it's, I believe, sort of embedded in the film, but it's situated within activism, and if you could explain that, how the action then sort of contributes to and explain the Idle No More movement, and how that is important element in the film. Yeah, I think you have to undo your mic.
Yeah. So the activism with high tanning, I think that any of our land-based practices is inherently like an act of resistance against colonialism, using our land, our traditional territories, going on the land. And using the land is a way for us to be on the ground, protecting the land, observing. And I always think to myself, if we're using the land, then they can't take it away from us, because we're actively using it. And that's that people like see you and know that you're out there. And so like the more high tanners there are, the more people are taking care of our animals and observing the changes to the animals as well. And on that aspect of like activism and resistance through high tanning, I also speak about how it's an indigenous climate solution, because we're relearning our indigenous economic systems of trading and the reciprocal relationship we have with animals in the land, and making materials for our artwork to sell to sustain our families. There's no chemical waste. Everything is organic and biodegrades, and it's a great teaching. Like, it's a great thing to talk about, like, all of these wonderful things about high tanning on so many different levels. But definitely I love high tanning. I love the process so much, and I've learned so much more about my traditional territory by doing this work, because you have to go out and find the wood that you need and get the poles, and you need to find a place where you can take the hair and other remains that you don't use. So I definitely became more confident in my own traditional territory through the process of high tanning. And there's a great love that I have for my land and my people that's just really lights that fire to do what I can to protect our way of life.
Before we wrap up, if you could both let us know what is the teaching opportunity here for all of us, and what you would like us to take away after screening your wonderful film. What can we take with us as a teaching for our teaching?
I'll just say something real quick, and then I'll pass it over to Melaw there. I guess, like, for me, I think it just really showed like how much any small act that you can make to learn traditional practices and stuff like that, like it was so evident how positive, like how just amazingly positive that was, and transformational in people's lives. So I just think that that's just such an amazing story to share with people. And I think that is, really like one of the most important things that I wanted to kind of put out there with this film. Yeah.
Thank you. Melaw?
Yeah, I'm so happy it's being filmed. So thank you so much for showing it at your film festival. And for people who watch the film, I find, like, for myself, the story that I see in this is just how important it is for us to heal and come together in community, learning and practicing our traditional ways and our connection to the land. I love my favorite thing about high tanning when I do camps is there's always this moment in the camp where everybody's working. They see something done and they do it. You're not telling anybody what to do. Everybody finds like this rhythm and is just synced up. And that's always like one moment at a high camp. And the kids are playing and the elders are having tea. And I always just think that's how our communities used to be. Like healthy, everybody working together and helping each other. And I think that's those moments are so important for us, especially now. What's happening in Canada? Sorry, I'm just emotional. I always cry when I talk about Moosehide County. So
Yeah.
Thank you. You're choking me up too. Well, isn't this a beautiful way to close, because isn't this what film and our art and culture is supposed to do, is move and inspire us and to teach us. And I want to thank you both for presenting this film to the festival and for participating and for creating such a beautiful film for all of us. So thank you to both of you.
Thank you so much for having us. We want to thank you so much for this really lovely interview, and thank you to the festival, and thank you to Melaw for patching in. I know it's a little complicated, but thanks for hopping in. And thanks to the audience.
Goodbye, and thank you so much.
Bye.